My name is Carolyn, and I talk to the spirit world. Travel with me to a dimension filled with love, light, and joyful surprises. Welcome to Carolyn's Psychic Playroom.
Hi everyone, Carolyn Wilkins here, excited to welcome you to yet another edition of Carolyn's Psychic Playroom. I hope that you've been having an enjoyable spring, getting out and enjoying the weather, and hopefully feeling a little bit free from the oppressive burden of the COVID and all the worries and concerns. A little bit we can get outside, a little bit now we can go out and just enjoy nature and feel like the breeze is going to help keep us safe and all that kind of stuff. So I hope that you have been enjoying a little bit of that. I am thrilled about the program today. I have an amazing woman as my guest today. Her name is Gurdeep Bhogal, and she is both a psychic, a medium, a healer, and a brilliant yoga teacher who is combining both psychic work, yoga work, trance healing, and all kinds of amazing things in a very unique combination. So I'm going to be talking with her a little bit later in the program, and I hope that you will stay tuned and that you will enjoy the conversation as much as I did. But meanwhile, before we go on to that, as you know, I always like to share a little bit of a reading for our collective group. And this time I've decided to use as my deck the African American Tarot. It's a wonderful, brilliant, vibrant deck that combines the basic tropes and archetypes of the standard Rider-Waite deck with pictures and energy and information from African gods and goddesses and also the African American ancestors. So you learn a little bit about African American history, you find out about all these amazing African archetypes and how they fit in with our Western tarot, which is quite fascinating. So, you'll be watching this program from the middle of May to around the end of May in that period. So I am intending that my reading will cover that period. I'm asking for 3 cards to just kind of guide us about things that may be happening, that might be coming up. Once again, I intend that the reading from these cards will be a reading that may speak to you individually, wherever you are as you're watching it. So even if you're watching it much later, because there is no time in the world of tarot or truly in the spiritual world, it will speak to you as you need it in the time frame in which you need it. So here we go. 3 cards for us to pay attention to, and I'm shuffling the deck as I'm talking to you. And I'll shuffle them again. And 3 cards. What do the viewers of Carolyn's Psychic Playroom need to know? What are 3 things that they need to know? I'm spreading the cards out, and now I'm going to pull one. And this card is the 3 of Cups. Can you see that? The 3 of Cups. Now, cups are watery energy. They are abundance. They are creativity. They are celebration. And our ancestor, to go with this card, is the amazing Louis Armstrong. No more celebratory music, I don't think, than the amazing music that he made during his lifetime, and the energy of the New Orleans celebration, even the funeral, has a celebratory aspect as you come back from the cemetery. So I'm looking at this card to say that during this time, I know that we've been through a lot of very difficult and trying times, but I feel that there are celebrations on the horizon. And even if the overall world picture is not 100% rosy, there will be moments of celebration available for you if you are able to take the time to look for them. So that's the meaning of this card, 3 of Cups. Beautiful. All right. And the second card, I'm now going to pull that card here. The Moon. Okay. I'm not sure what the phase of moon will be as you watch this. Of course, it'll depend on when you're watching it. But the moon is powerful. The moon contains all of those kind of deep, subconscious, submerged impulses, ideas, and plans. And you know, they say that in our minds, only the very tippy top surface is what our conscious minds access. All the rest is down in the subconscious, the realm of the moon. And it behooves us to pay attention to our deeply felt impulses and desires. That doesn't mean act on everything. No, there are some desires that we can have them, but we need to leave them alone. However, I think it's important to get in touch with what is really going on inside and to take time to kind of look within and say, what is my spirit really trying to tell me? What do I really feel about a certain situation or event? This is all within this realm of the moon, the realm of the psychic, the realm of dreams. To pay attention to these things in your life. So as you are celebrating, right, I feel that there is also going to be an opportunity to connect at a deeper level with the subconscious power and desires that you have, because these are the things that actually bring progress and move things along when we shift those underlying belief systems, right? So you might want to take a look, for example, at what you really believe about success and make sure that the things you're telling people really line up with the things you want. This is once again the area of the moon, of the subconscious. So if you're saying, I want to be successful financially in 2021, but every time you talk to people, you talk about how broke you are or how things never work out for you or whatever, you can see how your subconscious is going to be working against you. And once again, the realm of the moon. So make sure that all of your actions are aligned. Your thoughts, your words, your deeds, and your beliefs, all in alignment. And that's going to help you to achieve that celebration that we're looking for in soon and very soon for you. And for the last card, woohoo, the 10 of Cups. Can you see there the rainbow, the people dancing? This is a card of celebration. Once again, cups are the suit of abundance, and this is all about celebration. Up at the top, we have an ancestor who is stepping forward to remind us that in the end, no matter what happens, we are always free at a very deep and fundamental level because Spirit is always watching out for us. If we can Pay attention to the signs. And once again, this goes back to the moon, to our dreams, to those inner urges, to pay attention to those and follow those, because Spirit is definitely trying to send us a message that there is hope, that there is abundance, and that things are turning around to the good soon and very soon. So it's a very positive and uplifting message today, and I hope that you will find a way to apply it either in the larger collective or in your own personal life, whatever works for you. So that's my reading for now, and now I'm going to bring up my guest, the amazing Gurdeep Bhogal.
All right.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another wonderful interview here on Carolyn's Psychic Playroom. And today I am really thrilled to be able to welcome my friend Gurdeep Bhogal to the Psychic Playroom. And Gurdeep, as you will find out, has an extraordinary varied skill set. She does yoga, she's a medium, she's a psychic, she's a healer. She probably does other things that I don't even know about that are also awesome. And we're going to just have a lovely visit here. So if you've ever wanted to learn about yoga, about healing, about mediumship, anything like that, you need to stay tuned and pay full attention. So Gurdeep, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. It's just such a pleasure to spend the afternoon with you here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. So I think I often like to start by just asking my guests, how was it that you even got started with this whole psychic thing? You know, this is not something that is the typical thing that most people do, yet somehow we have wound it up in this sort of bizarre field. How did it start for you?
Well, it's a really good question, Carolyn. And, you can probably tell the people who are viewing from my accent that, I'm not originally from the United States, although I do live here in Massachusetts now, and I've been here for about 17 years. But I was raised in London, and my ethnic background is Indian Sikh. And so I was raised, in a Sikh family in the west of London, in the suburbs. And, I always was very much interested in spirituality. And my mother was a very spiritual person, and she used to pray every day. My father, he's still alive, and he also used to, frequent the Gurdwara, which is the Sikh temple. And my brother and I, when we were kids, we went to the temple to have like Punjabi classes and to learn various things like the harmonium. And my brother learned how to play the tabla, which are the drums. And so, we were sort of raised in this environment. And I think it was just a natural thing for me. I was a very curious child, but very much interested in spirituality and why we existed and why we were here. I was kind of like quite a deep sort of child, very much a thinker. So always asking questions. And then our next door neighbors were a Hindu family, and the two grandmothers, Mataji and Biji, who I feel like were just such great teachers for me in my life. They, used to perform all of these Hindu rituals. And so I learned all about that from them. And my mother was into it as well. So it was just all of these different influences that kind of like took me down this path of spirituality. And then my sisters, I'm the youngest of 5 siblings, and I have 3 sisters. My older sister was practicing yoga back in the 70s.
Wow.
In London, when it was kind of like an odd thing to do at that time.
Yes.
And I would like watch her and look at her yoga book and look at all of the different postures and So she took me to my first yoga class in my late teens. And my other sister, she was very much into mediums, going to see mediums and psychics. And so I went to see my first ever medium when I was 17 in London, this lady called Carol Peters. And I remember the reading. She was absolutely incredible. I mean, she was telling me things that I thought to myself, how on earth could she possibly know this stuff that she was telling me? And she was connecting with my grandfather and my uncle in the spirit world. And it was just incredible. So, you know, it just sort of piqued my interest. And then the rest is history.
Well, I must say, you seem in some ways to have almost born with the silver spoon, almost, because so many of us struggled to find acceptance for our spirituality, or struggled to even find the proper place, or what do we do with this. But it looks like, or sounds like from your story, that you were blessed to have a lot of support right from the beginning. So you mentioned yoga, and obviously you've been doing yoga now for quite some time, and I know that you are a yoga instructor. But what I'm interested in is, you are now kind of doing a little bit of a different twist with your yoga. Is that correct? In which it kind of begins to connect up with your spiritual work and your mediumship work in a more profound way?
That's absolutely correct, Carolyn. And so, you know, I didn't actually train as a yoga teacher until 2016. And I really believe that spirit led me, first of all, over here to the United States, led me to the Swampscott Church of Spiritualism, where I discovered I could actually sort of study mediumship and healing. So that's where my healing journey began, and mediumship journey began. And now I'm actually on the pastoral team at the Swampscott Church of Spiritualism as well, and a certified medium from the church as well. So, so the journey's kind of been a bit of a winding path, and I trained to be a yoga instructor in 2016 and graduated in April 2017. And I was already teaching because my home studio, which is the Yoga Loft in Marblehead, Massachusetts, north of Boston, I was on the first ever teacher training program with them. And my teachers are Boston-based teachers, Larissa Foreman and Vito Politano. And it was a transformative experience, and something happened. And in the middle of it, I took a trance mediumship class with our mentor, Tony Stockwell, down at the Journey Within in New Jersey. And in fact, you may have even been there. I'm not even sure, but you know, we've done many different classes. But in the middle of it all, I took this trance mediumship class with Tony Stockwell. And when I came back from that, I said to my friend Bill, I said, Bill, I really feel like there's this thing, and I feel like it's something like trance yoga. And like, I don't even know where it came from. And you know, in fact, I do know where it came from. It came from Spirit, because Spirit has been kind of like leading me through this journey. And so as I began to teach yoga and practice more deeply all of the different practices within yoga, not just the physical asana practice, but all of the other aspects as well, you know, the pranayama and the meditation and all of it, you know, then I started sort of deepening the trance mediumship practice. And, you know, you and I have been together with Tony Stockwell learning more about trance and been on various programs. And so my spirit guides then started through the trance to become more and more apparent, and were becoming sort of closer and closer. And if I know, you know, my trance work. So when I'm in the trance, and I'm doing trance healing. And I know you've spoken a little bit about trance healing on your social media pages as well. But the spirit guides, and some of my spirit guides are the deity energies from the Hindu pantheon.
I see.
They started doing like some of the yogic practices in the trance. So they started making different shapes with my hands. And these are known as mudras, or hand gestures. And so then I began to sort of investigate them, because I didn't really know exactly what was happening at first. And then I began to understand that they were showing me some of the ancient Indian yogic spiritual technologies of how to move and manipulate and to sort of like rebalance energies in a healing sense through the trance and through the yogic practices. So then it all kind of started to blend together. And then I was very much interested in studying yoga philosophy and history and what is known as the mystical aspects of yoga, so the siddhis. And
I see.
If anybody's read Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, which is the 8 limbs of yoga, kind of like text, within that there's the 3rd chapter, which is all about the mystical side of yoga. And I began to read it and study it and realize that they were talking about mediumistic expressions that we were already doing. And
that's fascinating.
Yeah, so there's this crossover. Yeah.
Well, that's what I want to ask a little deeper into that. So I know that we have been studying trance mediumship together, and just for people in our audience who may not be familiar with exactly what is that, how would you sort of describe the process? Because I think there's a lot of misapprehension about what trance mediumship is. And when you were just saying, oh, okay, I get these Hindu deities come through and they move my hands into these shapes and everything, I can almost hear people out there in TV land going, what? She does what? Yeah. So could you just maybe explain a little bit of what it feels like to be in your trance, and how because I don't think it's what people think. People think it's like zombies, or I could come up to you and stick pins in you and you would know, and it's not quite like that, but yet it's also not ordinary waking consciousness as we know it. So could you just really quickly talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, of course I can. And, I'm really excited about trance work because I think it has so many applications, and we're really just scratching the surface. But with all forms of mediumship, the medium is always working in an altered state of consciousness. So the normal waking state of consciousness, our brain waves are going along at a certain wavelength, and when we go into an altered state, that wavelength changes, and then we can go into various states of I can't think of the word, but various states of consciousness. Yes. Where
different levels of depth,
that's
according
right.
to the
Yes.
brain wave function. So
exactly.
Yes, and when we do trance, I'm gonna just cut to the chase with this, but we go deeper and deeper. And when you hit those deeper levels, that's when you become aware that the you that you think of as you, this little body here, is only maybe like the toenail of who you really are. And Absolutely. This is one thing that we do discover as mediums, because we do have this ability to connect with other worlds. Why is that? Because we are not only in this world here, but we're also existing simultaneously in other dimensions. And this has been a little bit borne out with the quantum physics and that kind of thing.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And so really what we're talking about is the soul. And,
Yes.
and that's where the connection lies with yoga, because yoga is kind of like a series of practices and spiritual technologies which helps people to understand that we aren't simply this physical body, but we are actually a spiritual being, an energy being, and we're just kind of like appearing in this physical form temporarily. So when we're working in the trance, we're kind of like transcending the physical, and we're really connecting on the soul level. So we're able to then expand out into, you could call it whatever you like, but the infinite spirit, or all that is, or the ground of being, all of these different terms to describe the oneness and all of the different kind of places that we can go within that oneness. The different dimensional spaces, as it were, which, like you said, have been explained much better by physicists than by me. But
that's helpful.
Happening. Yeah.
So when people come to study yoga with you, this is one of the different things that you bring, because I must say many people just kind of go to yoga and it's almost just another workout, right? Like they could choose stretching, or they could choose kickboxing, or they could choose some other thing, and they choose yoga because we've heard that it's relaxing, right? So what is the sort of unique, how do you go about sort of shaping that body, mind, spirit piece in your yoga? Because I know many people that do yoga, they're only about the body and twisting up into some weird shape. And I'm getting the sense that that is not what you do at all.
Well, that's only one tiny part of yoga. That part is the physical asana practice. It's called the asana practice. And if you follow the, Patanjali's 8 limbs of yoga, there are many different aspects of yoga, including, the moral and ethical codes, the yamas, the niyamas. Then you have the asana, the physical practice. You have the pranayama, which is the breath control, the breath work, the breathing. Then you have pratyahara, which is withdrawal of the senses. And when you come into these kind of like later sort of like different aspects of yoga, it's more like mediumship. And so, we're withdrawing from the physical senses, that's pratyahara, and then you're finding ways in which to concentrate and focus, and that's known as dharana. And then you come to meditation, or single pointed focus meditation, which is known as dhyana. And the ultimate goal is samadhi, and this can be described as, sometimes it's described as ecstasy or bliss, but it's really where you find your profound connection with the divine. And that is actually the goal of yoga. And Western yoga, or just the physical part, is just one tiny little piece of that. And the yogic poses, the physical postures, were really just there as one aspect to help you prepare for meditation, so that you can then know that you're a soul and that you're connected to the divine.
That's gorgeous. And so for people who, as you're listening to Gurdeep talk about this, if part of you is going, oh, that's some kind of level of understanding that I've been longing for, to connect the body, mind, and spirit in this magical and wonderful way, tell us a little bit about where people can find you and how people can study with you. Are you offering classes in this kind of yoga?
So I offer yoga classes. Okay, so I primarily at the moment offer yoga classes through the Yoga Loft in Marblehead, Massachusetts. And at the moment, I have 3 classes per week. And I teach an essentials class twice a week. I'm subbing for my teacher temporarily for one of those. So my usual schedule is just 2 per week. And then I also teach restorative yoga practice, slow flow with restorative. And the restorative part, I also offer healing during that. So that's all through the Yoga Loft in Marblehead. And I just wanted to sort of go back just one tiny step as well. So typically, if you attend one of my general classes, the ones that I've just described, you will experience not just the physical asana practice, but there'll be some of the other elements of yoga. So we might have a little bit of pranayama, breath work. We might have a little bit of meditation. We might practice some hand gestures, some mudras, you know, just some different things that are brought into the practice. I might speak about one of the yamas or the niyamas, just so that people understand that yoga is not just the physical asana practice.
I understand.
It's not actually exercise. It's
something entirely different.
Yeah.
So amazingly, we have come nearly to the end of our time together, but I just am so honored that you were able to find time to come. And if people want to reach you, what's the best way for people to find you?
Yeah. And so I do other workshops, and I also do private yoga, private mediumship, private trance healing. My website is parinamahealing.com. And I'm sure you're going to sort of like give out the detail of that, but they can contact me through my website. They can contact me through my email address, and also through social media. So I'm also on Instagram and on Facebook as well.
Beautiful. And can you say it one more time? Spell it out. I'm going to put it underneath it later, but it's just good to hear it also.
Yeah, it's a Sanskrit word. And the name of my holistic practice is Parinama Transformative Healing Arts. But Parinama Healing is the website. So it's www.parinamahealing.com.
Beautiful.
And then you can contact me that way. And all of my various things that I'm offering are available on my website.
This is wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining me here in the Psychic Playroom. And we will do this again. But meanwhile, there you have it, Gurdeep Bhogal. And I'm going to put her information there so that if you're interested, by all means, contact her. Thank you again for coming, Gurdeep. That was wonderful.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. It's been such a pleasure speaking with you this afternoon. Really appreciate you having me on your show.
So I'm so happy that I got a chance to talk to Gurdeep. She's my classmate in Tony Stockwell's mediumship. I've so enjoyed getting to know her. And I'm sure that after you have seen this interview, you will want to reach out to her as well. So I'm going to put her information as a subtitle here below so that you can go to her website, connect with her. She's just a fascinating, warm, and wonderful person. So we have come to the end of yet another episode of Carolyn's Psychic Playroom. I hope that you've enjoyed it. And as always, if you would like to receive a reading from me on the program or would like to get in touch with me, there are 2 ways you can do that. 1, you can write to me at psychicplayroom@gmail.com, or you can visit my website, www.carolynwilkins.com. So I look forward to hearing from you. Stay well, stay blessed, and we'll talk again soon. This is Carolyn Wilkins saying bye for now.
Thoughts are things with the energy to make life better for you and for me. Touch the light.